All right. Welcome to the Roundtable, another edition of the Roundtable. As you can see, I found out 30 seconds ago that Mr. Rick Upchurch is not going to be with us. Now, that's okay because we're going to do improv radio. Aaron's here.
No, he's not.
Not in the studio, but as you can see, he's right next to me in Reno.
And
that's right.
AI version of Aaron Phillips.
That's right. This is the AI. We're testing out AI.
And AIAP hasn't looked so good. Yes, I'm up in Reno at the Nugget up here. I am here for Kiwanis Connect show. We're up here this weekend. Tonight I'm hosting the retirement dinner for Governor Val. She's being promoted to immediate past governor. And I'm going to stay up here for the weekend. We're going to do Kiwanis Connects from up here. So I'm spending the next couple of days in Reno, and fortunately, I have time to log in. And in a way, I'm glad it's worked out since we, like you said, 30 seconds ago, we found out Rick is in Texas.
Hey, that's
and he did tell us. I'm sure he told us.
And he did say he did tell us. Where's he off?
I'm
Gallivan?
sure he did.
Where's he at?
He's in Texas with his daughter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Texas.
Oh, God. That poor bastard.
That's funny. Well, we're here. Another episode of the Roundtable. I'm here in the studio. John's going to be, he'll mouth off when he feels like it. Any topics, Aaron, that you have seen over the last week that you wanted to talk about? I know that I had sent some stuff to you, and we were just talking off the air about a couple of them.
Well, I want to touch on this, and I talked about it on Aaron's Hour, and we did a little bit of it on TC on Saturday. Schools went back in session this week, back in Vegas. So I just want to remind everybody to please mind those school zones. Okay.
That's right.
Please be safe. And I've got to remind everybody, when you see the buses and the stop sign, generally you see on the driver's side of the bus, obviously the cars on that side know to stop, but I'm not sure that everybody knows that cars coming from the opposite direction, they also have to stop by law because you don't know what kids are crossing the street. So please, when you see a bus, stop both ways. Be careful with cross streets. School. I found out from somebody here at the convention that their school year doesn't start for 2 more weeks here in Cali. So schools are ramping up, folks. Let's keep your eyes out there for our students.
Now, these buses, they have those big giant red stop signs that the flaps that pull out that they pull out when they stop so they can see them from both directions of traffic. So,
but there are people that think because if there's a divided road, in other words, if you got a medium
right
between you, that they think that they can go ahead and go because you can if you have an emergency vehicle, a cop.
John, turn your mic on, John. Turn your mic on.
My mic is on.
Oh well, then you need to. Now it is. You sound better now. You sound like you're in a tin can.
Oh, okay. That's because I was 9 feet away.
Yeah. But so I mean, school's back. It's early here.
Yeah,
it really is early
here. And
so.
People may not realize this who are relatively new to Vegas. Starting this early is only like 4 or 5 years because at the end of December, as students are getting ready to go to winter break, what's happening is seniors in high school take their testing for high school students to be marketed or compared across the country. Well, what was happening, the session would end, then high school students would get 2 weeks off, come back in January, guess when they did the testing? As soon as they came back, when all the students forgot everything.
Right.
So they moved it up a couple of weeks so that this way they can get all that testing in before winter break and before the students can forget their info, which is why we start when we do. But it also means we end right before the week before Memorial Day.
Do they still take ACT and SAT tests and all that stuff?
Oh, for college entrances, yeah. But these other tests are state tests that basically help monitor like funding for the state and things like that, and as well as where the state of Nevada ranks in education, and we all know where that is.
And it's been that way since I've lived here for over 30 years. When are they? Why is that? I mean, all this money, and they, and in fact, I was reading something where else about another city with the general fund, the rainy day fund. Where's all that money here in Nevada? Where's all that? We've discussed this before. Where does it go, man?
It don't rain here.
It doesn't rain money. That's like doesn't rain like a strip club. That's for sure.
No, that's for darn sure. Again, I'm gonna put the blame on Governor Sandoval for all that, because the money was there right after the first year. I mean, John and I were part of Vegas All Net Radio. We owned, with Ricky Cash, may he rest in peace, we owned Vegas All Net Radio. And at that same time is when marijuana got legalized, and the sales and everything was supposed to go into the school budget. Well, when Governor Sandoval, not that year, but the year after, was ending his term, he decided to take that money out of there, put it into the quote-unquote rainy day fund, into the general fund, and basically restructured the spaghetti bowl on 15 and 95 with that money. And to the best of anybody else's knowledge, none of that money has ever been reclassified, because if it did, I guarantee you we would not be looking at a pending work action by CCEA come August 26th if the strike is, or if the contract's not settled by then. So
it's amazing. I'd be in jail if I did something stupid like that, took the money and did it for something else. But
we all would be.
It's funny you mentioned allradio.net. I found a picture when I was running for president in 2015.
Vegas All Net Radio. The company you mentioned was George's company.
No, it was alltalkradio.net, but yeah, yours is right. I should have switched. But I found a picture of me running for president, and John's in the background. And,
well, that video is still up on YouTube under Vegas Unwrapped. I never took.
Is it really?
I have that video.
I need to see it. I'd like to see that.
All right, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That was just, I saw that photo. It came up on a memory just recently, like from 7 years ago. I went, no way, there's John in the back. But we're here. We have a lot of topics, a lot of stuff that I found. I don't know how you want to do it. Get started off right now. Just bless all the people.
I will follow you.
In Hawaii. And all those folks in Hawaii. Yeah. My hearts and prayers. We say that all the time when disasters happen. Yep. But it looked like the apocalypse. Hawaii was on fire, and that was. Well, was that Oahu?
Yeah,
that was out on Oahu. Leilani was the town that's been around since the 1700s, and except for one tree that's been there almost as long, that city is gone. Yeah, like Pompeii.
300 or 400 buildings gone. And
terrible.
They said 80 mile an hour winds, they didn't have a chance. It was there's a hurricane a few hundred miles south of there, and those winds, amazingly enough, can travel that far or mix up with other.
And I don't know if I have not heard if or what the cause was.
No,
fire.
Yeah, we don't know if it was lightning or somebody smoked a joint and dropped an ash in the woods. We don't know any of that. But, it just happened so quickly, though, there's nothing you could do. So that's too bad.
But I am happy to say that our good friend Jennifer McCord, who does not live on that island, she lives on the big island.
Right.
So she's nowhere near any of that. She is safe. But I want to send, like you said, thoughts to everybody out there. Even though you may not be in the fire zone, any of those other islands, I guarantee they're getting residual smoke, and that's not healthy either.
Right. But those islands are fairly far apart. I mean, I don't know how. I guess the smoke would still, be around. But
Canada's
it's like we talked.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess so. You're right. I guess so. So.
But you talked about the winds, though. The winds being so heavy, they're going to pick that smoke up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Russia or China or whatever, in any direction, they're going to have residual effect from the fire.
Funny you mentioned Russia and China, and again, I don't want to get into politics, but this doesn't even belong in political. How come when you go to Mexico, if you and I want to purchase land or a business in another country, you have to go through some kind of lengthy time period of setting up residence or such. I remember, just for instance, when Tina Turner moved to Europe, God rest her soul, she's gone now, but she had to be a citizen for a long time, a couple of years before she could buy property. How come
Yep.
China is coming over here and buying 300,000 or 400,000 acres of farmland? How can they do that? I mean,
Greed, and they have money, and
But
that's
who's-
all we care about.
but these farm guys are why are they selling to
Dude,
them?
if I came and offered you $1 million for your home tomorrow, would you sell it to me?
If you were from China, no, or outside the country, no.
Bullshit.
Why?
You would sell it to me in a New York.
Not
minute.
if you knew what they were thinking about. Did you hear about the warehouse last weekend in California? They found a biolab with Chinese employees.
Okay, so what if I'm American but I'm missing some teeth, and I want to put a meth lab in your house?
Well, you're not going to tell me you're going to put a meth lab in the house. But again, it's just don't think it's right. Regardless, you have to set up some kind of and show that you're going to be a citizen before you can buy all that stuff. It's crazy about all this stuff's happening. I think it's wrong, but that's as far as I want to go with that. It's just I don't think it's right that anybody can come over here and just buy land whenever they feel like it. That's all. Any thoughts with that, Aaron?
By the way, I just want to send a quick shout out. Yeah, I just want to send a quick shout out to everybody who's watching and listening on Facebook. They can also be watching us on YouTube. The apps for worldwide digital broadcasting for Android, WWDBTV, and for your iPhones, WWDBTV.LV. And of course, in about 3 days, you can download the Roku. If you have Roku, you can download the WWDBTV channel, and you can check us out, as well as the plethora, bazillion of shows that are on the network there, and catch up with all your favorite stuff. And plethora, and call in, as you see on the screen right now, 702-992-3207. Give us your thoughts on any of the topics or on something that we didn't even know about.
I'm glad you can read those. I'm glad you can read those numbers because I can't see nothing. It's
not a matter of seeing them. It's a matter of memorizing.
Well, yeah, I guess it's just kind of squid.
Remember, I'm doing 4 shows, and I give out the number to 4 different shows.
Right.
So I read something interesting day before yesterday, that the Russian mafia is now saying that it's time for Putin to go.
I think that they're getting tired of him over the last few years. It's coming to the Russian mafia.
They're losing a shitload of money because of the sanctions and stuff like that. So they're saying, hey, we think it's time. So
what are they going to do? Are they going to take him out, the Russian mafia? When are they going to find Putin in a bathtub somewhere? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's going on, Aaron? Anything how's the weather up in Reno?
Well, I'll tell you what, I got out of Vegas this morning, apparently in plenty of time. I had a 7:20 flight out because by the time I landed up here an hour later, I spoke to my wife, and you guys were getting severe storms and stuff down there.
It's nice. It's 85.
Well, now it is. Yeah, now it is. But this morning I heard, the torrential rains. It's beautiful up here in Reno right now. It's about 80 degrees. It was about 62 when I landed. Beautiful. I mean, it was just gorgeous. And it's been a gorgeous day up here. Not that I'm spending any time outside, mind you, because I'm, locked into the weekend. But it's nice up here. It's been a long time. I mean, I could see why people love Reno because I got a view of the mountains out here. I'm on the 15th floor, and I still see snow up on the mountains, just like we do back in Vegas.
Right. Wow.
So if you get a chance, there's a lot going on up here. Come on up and make it a getaway.
Yeah, Reno's nice. I liked it. Denise and I have been up there a couple of
I
times.
like it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a story.
You can have that shit the winter time.
Well, I have a story of that. We went up to Lake Tahoe in December.
What, and nuts?
Yeah, it was this trip we had. It was a holiday trip, and we decided to go to Lake Tahoe and go out on a boat on the freaking lake. It was snowing. It was cold. There was a fog. You're
on a boat in Lake Tahoe.
It was
in December.
It was the weirdest thing. We couldn't see anything. It was cloudy, fog. Didn't see anything.
How do you know you were on the water?
Well, I'm assuming we were. We drove to we got off and walked on and then as soon as we floated out in the middle, you couldn't see the other side. You couldn't see the sky. So we just got drunk and did shots in the boat. It was like an hour boat ride. But then there was a bad snowstorm on the way back. But
that was good planning, though.
She fell asleep. She fell asleep, and I drove, terrified. But what do you do? Well, we got a lot
no,
going on here. The Raiders first preseason game is Sunday.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's
Who are they playing?
49ers.
Who's going to be the Raiders running back?
Well, it might Zach Brown. Maybe it's not going to be Josh Jacobs right now.
Mm-mm.
That's for sure. I see horrible things coming. If you're a Raider fan, it doesn't look promising right now. But the NFL's back. That's all I'm saying. It's back another month before the regular season starts. And
well, it was back last week with the Hall of Fame game between the Jets and the Browns.
Now, the Hall of Fame game, that's in Canton, Ohio. You ever been there before, Canton, Ohio?
That is not a place I have been able to get to as of yet, no.
It's on my bucket list to go see the Hall of Fame. I'd like to go see that.
I've been to Cooperstown twice.
Oh yeah, okay. That's northern upstate New York.
Yep, Cooperstown is the name of the city. It's beautiful up there in the upstate part. If you get a chance, folks, whether you go up for the Hall of Fame or not, it's beautiful up there. It's classic old town. There's one street, think Fremont Street, but cut it down to 2 streets instead of the 3 big streets that's around Fremont.
Right.
It is such a great place. Antiques. I mean, it's a drive. I'm not going to, if you're going to drive up there from Jersey like I did, it's a drive. Obviously, you'd have to fly in from here, but it's beautiful. Oswego Lake is where they are. Oswego. Yeah, it's the county that they're in. But no, I have not been there. I have no interest in the NBA Hall of Fame. Springfield.
Yeah, me neither. Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah, but football would be the next one if I ever get back out that way.
It would have to be. We should do a boys trip out there to Canton, Ohio. That'd be fun.
Well, we happen to know somebody was in the NFL, might be able to hook us up.
Yeah, we should bring it up. Speaking of, I see our producer. He's going like this, like break, get the hell out of here, break. So I was going to segue into a baseball story here, like in Vegas with the A's. When we come back, we'll talk about the A's and that stadium BS. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I hope. Hey, everybody. I am Aaron Phillips. You are?
I'm Governor Val Brown Klingelhofer.
And we host what kind of show?
We host the most fabulous show on this network you've ever seen. It's all about Kiwanis and what's going on in our different cities.
And Kiwanis Connects is the title, and you can watch us every Friday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, right on Facebook or WWDBTV. Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Aloha.
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle
Are we
change?
back?
Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look
Hello?
no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas, and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please
All right, well,
visit
George is frozen. I have no idea.
AaronZauer.Vegas and book me for your next event or training needs.
All right, welcome back to the Roundtable. We are going to segue into baseball. I know Aaron likes baseball. I've never been a big baseball guy. I've always been NFL, NBA. But now that Vegas is in the running, probably don't know if it's a done deal now, but the Oakland A's are moving to Las Vegas. And I saw a article that you had.
Maybe.
Right. You had posted a article, and I read it.
Well,
and
it's something we've talked. It's something we've talked about actually previously for a while. 9 acres of the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana, where they're going to knock down the Tropicana Hotel, is a total of 35 acres.
That's a big lot.
Yeah, and it's butted up against the airport. So I don't know how all the air traffic stuff is going to figure out, but 9 acres. And like you've said, basically the owners are getting it for free, et cetera, et cetera. But now all of a sudden, even though we've all been talking about it for about a year now, all of a sudden they think 9 acres of land may not be enough space for a domed stadium for 30,000 people and maybe a little more parking than Allegiant Stadium gets for 65,000. So it's no surprise, but they also haven't said how much more land they need.
Well, they did say was it the Texas Rangers? They have a retractable roof, and it sits on approximately 13 acres. So you're talking maybe, 4 more acres to add to the project, which would still leave, because I think Bally's is who owns that land? Bally's, or is it Caesar? Who owns it?
I think I want to say I think Bally's, but I could be wrong with that.
Well, they still want to open. They want to build another hotel casino on the property on the other end, which would give them 20 acres to play with.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be interesting when this town wouldn't allow gambling on sports at all, and now you got casinos right up next to a damn stadium now.
So that's the thing. If they are building a casino right at that site where the ballpark is, why couldn't they do that 3 miles north on 15, just on the opposite side of North Las Vegas, where there's plenty of flipping land, no airport to contend with, a Station Casinos or somebody could have built their casino on that same plot, and the stadium could be built right inclusive of the stadium. Same concept.
Right. And there's plenty of land out there. And
hell yeah.
I agree with you there. And also, I've mentioned it before, the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Warm Springs on the southwest end. Massive. 100 acres. That whole side is empty. The whole between the highway, the interstate, and Las Vegas Boulevard. All that land.
But I could hear everybody saying, especially the councilmen and everybody else, that's too far south from the Strip.
Well, what are you talking about north? If you went north and did it by the racetrack, that's.
Well, I'm not saying by the racetrack. Between north, let's say where the Amazon warehouse is that you could see on 15 North.
Yeah,
up to the race, go up it. I don't know what the distance is, but to me, there's more around if you go north than if you go south. I mean, I know you have the M Resort and you got the South Point and the Grandview, but that's not a whole lot to really draw people down there other than the game. I mean, but that's just my opinion. I mean,
well, it's like you said, it would, without even up north where you're talking about, even if you built a casino, there's a lot of land there to get on the interstate. You wouldn't be clogging it up as bad. Although when they have a race up there, NASCAR, that place gets all,
but,
what do they call it? Yeah, just traffic stops for 10 miles there.
But I will say this, though. The infrastructure that the RTC, that's our bus system for those who don't know, they have it figured out on how to move people from the Strip hotels, and to get up there for the race. 150,000 people come in for one weekend for that race. Well, it's more than one race over the weekend. But the RTC has it figured out on how to move those people. The Electric Daisy Carnival is held up there once a year for a day or two. Well, those people a little crazier, but same thing. There's mass transit to move people. They have the infrastructure and the experience to do that. And that's why I'm particular saying going north, because the RTC is already doing that multiple times a year to move people from the Strip to get up in that direction a lot easier than people who can't get to Allegiant Stadium.
Right. Have you seen I've been to a couple of games and they're walking across from Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
God, it was 120 outside. My God.
Well, think about this though, folks. Okay. Math. You have a stadium that's going to seat about 70,000 people. Initially, a parking garage was built for 2,500. Terrible Herps recently built or is in the process of finishing up another structure to add 700 more spots in the parking garage. I don't know about you folks. I know Nevada gets a hit for its educational position, but let me tell you, it doesn't take a half brain to figure out that 3,200 parking spots for a 65,000 seat arena, no matter how many Ubers, Lyfts, and everything else, ain't gonna cut it.
Right. Well, you know what I like is the games that I've gone to at the stadium. I don't live far from Green Valley Ranch, and they have shuttles there, and they just had the paper for the Raider games. You go park, and there's like 5 or 6 areas in town.
Right.
I think they do it up north at one of those casinos up north. But you can hop on, round trip, $4 to the stadium. You just go park your car at the casino, hop on the shuttle. They take you to the game, drop you off at Allegiant. And when it's over, you get back on it, $4 round trip.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that because there was an article that came out last week that the Golden Knights partnered with, I want to say M Transportation. I could be off on that, to move people from the Fremont Street area to go to Allegiant, to go see a Knights game at T-Mobile. Now, T-Mobile is only 18,000 people, right?
Yeah.
You know how much you're going to charge for that drive? $55 for that shuttle service.
$55.
And somebody replied to my post saying if he took an Uber, it's 45 from that same area.
Wow. Jesus, that's so expensive. My
So,
God.
Now, I have a quandary because at the beginning of November, my New York Giants are coming out here to play your Las Vegas Raiders.
So you're going?
I don't want to go. I don't want to deal with it. I got a widescreen television, no lines to a bathroom, all the food and drink I want for free.
Right.
Tickets. You ready for this, George? $300 upper deck.
Yep. And that's what they're 75 for the preseason game.
Well,
upper deck, 400 area.
Yeah, but you're not seeing your starters, so who gives a shit?
No, you're not. But it's still, that's the only way I can get in there. I mean, you're not going to spend, and it depends on the team too. I saw
Right.
Broncos, big rivalry, 400, 500, 600.
Let me put that in perspective. You guys know, and our fans know, I was back in New York 2 weeks ago and took in a Yankee game while I was there. Originally, my wife wanted the ticket she looked at was she wanted to try to get tickets against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. Okay, now we were in the 300 level, like 2 rows from the top of the 300 level concourse.
Right.
So the tickets up there for the Red Sox was $400 a spot. So I told my wife, don't you dare pay it. So Kansas City was in town that weekend. You want to know how much those same seats were for Kansas City?
$19.
Right.
$25 plus tax. Right? So why, if I'm not going to spend it for the Yankees, Red Sox, and I love my Giants, going back to Brad Van Pelt.
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But that's a rivalry game. But I'm going back to the days, Gary Reasons, Brad Van Pelt, Joe Pisarcik, the fumble. That's all. I don't want to spend $300 to see them come out to Vegas to play the Raiders. I don't want to spend that money. It's $1,000 day for 2 people to go.
It is. It's insane, isn't it? I think it's really unfair how they do that.
I get a lot of hookers and blow for that.
Yeah. That's it, man. You'd be up the whole weekend. It'd be worth it.
Yeah, well, you'd have to send my wife someplace else, though.
Me too. Denise and her. We'll send her and Denise somewhere else.
Exactly.
But
moving on. Yes.
Moving on. You and I were discussing sad story that a woman who died.
Oh yeah.
From drinking too much water.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of anything like that? I mean, I've heard of water toxicity, but I never knew it was. She drank supposedly you're supposed to drink a gallon a day, right? Isn't that what the?
Well, some say
which is a lot of water.
Some say actually half your body weight in water. I think that's ridiculous. For my program with the sleeve, I have to do about 120 ounces throughout the day.
Okay, they said 92 ounces for a woman.
That's correct.
So she drank 64 ounces in a 25-minute period. Yep,
she drowned herself.
Yeah, and she went into a coma. Her brain shut down. They said that the electrolytes in her body weren't keeping up to, because when you're drinking water, it gets recycled or something. The electrolytes help break it down or whatever it does, and it didn't have enough time or to help absorb that water.
Right,
and,
to process it.
Apparently, before she passed away, her family members, she was telling family members, I just can't seem to be getting enough water. So she was doing physical activity out and about with the kids and her husband. So I don't know what the detail was, but they said final, her autopsy and whatever they said was just, water toxicity,
Well, and if you think about it, though, if you have, what do they call it? Alcohol poisoning. I mean, if you're at these frat parties and, you know, the initiation is you lay there and they pour liquor down your throat, that people can die from that too, from alcohol poisoning. So in a way, I'm not comparing water to alcohol before I get all these nasty emails, but, but if the body can't process the volume of liquid going into your body, you're going to drown yourself. For me, when I was 354 pounds, I could chug water, no issues when I had a normal sized stomach. Well, with the sleeve surgery, I have a stomach the size of a banana. And the first thing they told us, do not chug water, because the stomach and the system can't handle such a flush of water. The stomach is small. It doesn't know what to do with it. In essence, I could have done the same thing by drowning myself because the body couldn't process it. So dehydration, when you need water because you just say, oh, I'm so thirsty. So folks, you're past the point of no return. If you're already at that point, you're beyond dehydrated, and you need to be conscious of that. Even if it's in the middle of winter and it's 20 below, you still need to stay hydrated.
Well, you know, for me, again, they say you're already way past it when you're thirsty, but that's when water tastes so good, and when it just feels good. When water when you're thirsty, you know, and that's why they invented the drink Gatorade and Powerade, because that replaces the electrolytes that you use with sweat.
Now,
so I drink Powerade and Gatorade. I like it. I drink Powerade all the time.
If I'm not well and I'm not feeling good, like literally if I'm running in and out of the bathroom, regardless of which direction it's coming from, you're losing electrolytes a lot faster. At that point, yes, I will drink. But otherwise, this is what I do all day long. Now, you mentioned about the water. Do you like cold water or do you drink warm room temperature water?
I like cold water, although I will tell you, we buy bottled water. We put it in the freezer.
Yep.
Now, before I go to bed, I always take a bottle and I'll put it at the side of the bed. And when you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and drink the water, it's room temperature. It tastes fine. But I do like cold water. Although I remember as a kid, my mom would never let us, when we were out sweating and everything, playing around, she wouldn't let us drink cold water. It was cool water, but it wasn't cold.
Shit, back in our day, we drank out of a goddamn garden hose.
That's when I played football. There was no, they gave us salt tablets during 2-a-days. We called it Century Hour. This was football camp in August, right about now. It was called Century Hour. We had 2-a-days, and they would give us salt tablets, and we'd drink out of the hose. There was no bottled water or Powerade or any of that, you know, and we survived.
Well, the reason I asked about the temperature of the water, you are a thespian.
Yes.
You like that word?
Not a lesbian, a thespian. Although I could be
a lesbian.
Watch it well.
With a lift.
A lesbian with a thespian.
Milton Berle made a living in drag. Let me just say that. But anyway. So, but
and he had sex with every Hollywood starlet known to man at that time.
John, do you remember Tony Martini?
Absolutely.
Well, he taught me a lesson as a singer I'm not a singer, but he yelled at me every time I drank cold water, because doing a show, you're using your vocal cords. And it is belief of those of us who use our voice. See what I did there? The voice. See, it's right there on the logo. Right there. See, right there. Cold water hurts our throat more than room temperature water. We should be drinking room temperature water or warm water with honey. I can't, to quench my thirst, like you talked about, when I'm severe, like at a workout, I need cold water. A room temperature bottle of water when I'm doing CrossFit ain't cutting it.
Right.
And thank God I've been blessed that drinking cold water has not affected me at this point.
Yeah,
but that's why I was curious, as someone who's done acting and, you know, you do your thing. They yell at people for doing cold water when you use your throat a lot.
Yeah, so no doubt. And I agree with room temperature water is okay too. Warm water with honey, I've never done that. So
it's like tea. It's like tea just minus the bag.
Yeah, that doesn't sound appealing at all to me at all.
So I'm going to segue. I want to give you 3 digits. And I want to see if you can come up with the right answer of what I may be referencing, okay?
Oh, boy. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
The number 1, the number 5, and the number 8.
1, 5, and 8, and it's supposed to be a reference to what is it? Uh, Entertainment, TV show, sports. 1, 5, 8.
I don't know. You sent me the link to this news item for tonight's show.
I did for 1, 5, 8.
Mega Millions boasted the largest prize.
You forgot the decimal point.
1.5.
I know.
That's right. 158. You're right.
I purposely left the decimal out. I just wanted to give the actual digits.
Well, it didn't work. You stumped me.
See, all right. Oh, he forgot the word of the day. Anyway,
1 ticket in Florida.
Yeah.
1 ticket in Florida. 1.5 billion dollars. And I when I posted the article right before you sent it to me, I put out there. I said this individual can now buy Florida if they wanted to.
Right.
No, because they took the cash and they're only getting $433 million after tax.
Is that official? Is that what they decided?
Yeah. But here's the thing. That is proof that our government can tax billionaires.
It is. My God. You win 1.58 billion, you get maybe 30% of it after everybody gets their cut.
Listen,
if you take
that
it,
poor bastard only ended up with $433 million.
John,
I hope he makes it.
right,
You know,
John.
speaking of that, I saw that in the news today. Let's just play the game. Let's just say you win 1.58 billion. You take it all in one lump sum, and now you get $400+ million. What would you do, Aaron? What would you do?
But let's think about this. I don't know how old the winner is, but age will have a lot to do with making the decision if you want annual payments or the one lump sum. However, let's round it off to $500 million. Poor soul will have to buy an extra case of ramen noodles every month.
Right.
What would I do with it? Well, the obvious answers, and I know it's the cliche answer: pay off my bills, support my daughters, help my sister, with her three kids, do all of that, invest. I would probably want to get into the internet television business.
Your own station. Buy your own station.
I'd buy a new camera.
Just one camera. That's funny.
Or figure out a way to buy into an existing one. You know what I'm saying? But
that's a good idea. And again,
at my age,
we'll talk.
That's funny.
If you had $433 million, I'd come up there and give you the deed to the place.
Well, you know what? Another thing you could do. It would be almost
plus 5,000.
Right. It'd be almost. I would take if you let's say you had 433 million. I would take the 33 million.
Buy the A's.
Yeah, Denise and I, we would go out and do whatever we wanted to do with it. The other 400 million, you just throw in a non-threatening 2 or 3% CD. You're going to get $5, $6, $7 million a year off of that anyway. Plus your 33 million to play with. You don't have to ever touch that most of the principal ever again.
Well,
my taste my taste wouldn't be that much of a change.
No,
just the peace of mind. The peace of mind.
Yep.
Yeah, I might buy a radio station or a TV station or produce my own films.
Yeah,
that would be cool to do. But
it's a number that just about every dream an individual could have, literally could satisfy in one form or another. But what I like about that now, I just turned 59. Georgia, 61?
62 just turned.
62. Yeah. John is older than dirt, so I'm not going to ask that. But you're welcome. But we in our stage of life would have probably done the same thing and taken the lump sum. However, if I was 30 and just starting my life, like my daughters, happy birthday, Stacy and Alyssa. They turned 30 today, by the way. I
saw that. Happy birthday, girls.
Absolutely. If I were their age at 30, I'd be resting comfortably taking the annual installments because that too is a nice chunk of change.
Take the lump sum at any age.
Here's why I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Here's why I wouldn't do that. What happens in 12 years if they decide, you know what, the lottery's broke?
Right.
All right, that's a
Money
good
all
point.
up
So if you took 433 million and you put, like as you said, take the 33 million, go party hardy.
Yep.
Take the other 400 million, put them in,
Easy
CDs or
peasy. Yeah.
whatever. You've got plenty of money to live for the rest of your life, and so would your family and
Right.
your children and your grandchildren.
Well,
So
and,
You mentioned taking
and
care
that's
of
the other thing I
the
was.
girls. You mentioned taking care of the girls. I would give certainly wouldn't have, my sister and my niece would be well off, but I would give incentives, especially to my niece. She's only 19. Get a college degree, then you get a piece. If you want to go and get a PhD,
Yep.
then you get another piece. Give her some incentive. I certainly won't let her starve, but I'm not going to let her know, oh yeah, here's $100 million. Enjoy your life. There would be,
Right.
it's safer to do it that way because you've heard horror stories about people getting that kind of money. And there's one famous one. His name was Jack Whitaker. He won $400 or $500 million. He was already wealthy, but he subsidized his 16-year-old granddaughter's life. She was doing drugs and alcohol, and she ended up dying. That kind of thing.
Right.
So
well, that kind of number, that kind of number leads to something we've all kind of touched on and said it. It's the legacy.
Right.
Because a number like that, you've got your kids, you got their kids, and so on. Forever. And then some, because you're talking generations. Like you said, George, if you put it in the right kind of account and you're earning $1 million of interest by itself, the principal would never be touched. And that principal would continue to earn and earn for generations that you and I would never even think about.
For the next 100 years, 150 years.
Easily. I will say this, though, in case Frank Pizarro is listening. Frank, rest assured, if I were to win that kind of money, Firefighter Memorial Transport would get a chunk of it to get that shit built that you want to do. So you've got that promise. But that's what I love about it, is that it's a number that can create a legacy. All right. With that, do you have something ready for America Speaks, by the way?
I have a couple of ideas, but we could just ramble on if you want.
All right. Well, we're at the quarter of the hour, and I don't mean to jump ahead, but I think, do we not have to take our last break?
Yes.
Well, there you have it.
Yes.
We sometime between now and the next 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's move it along then. Why don't we take the break so we don't have to stop anything we're going to discuss about?
All right, here we go. Let's take a break now.
Take a break. Go.
With our award-winning patented Ultimate 3-in-1, pack wrinkle-free in our innovative garment bag, generous duffel, and all-purpose day pack for incredible versatility. Experience easy wrinkle-free packing with quick access to travel essentials. Exclusively ours, an extension pocket for longer items or additional storage. Avoid check-in fees and lost luggage with our patented wraparound garment bag and duffel for a single carry-on. Easily hang the garment bag at your destination and use our duffel as a pop-up drawer. Back at home, the duffel and garment bag fold neatly into the day pack for compact storage. Travel smarter and simpler with Ultimate Luggage.
And we're back at the round table. You got me, the mouth, in the studio. Rick's in Texas. Aaron's right there next to me in Reno, Nevada. Amazing technology. We can actually just hang out and BS the whole time. And he's up there in Reno, and we're back from break. Holy shit, my phone just went off. We're okay. We're back. So
I want to just mention real quickly, and John, you can clip this and send it to the folks at the Ultima Luggage. Folks, I traveled to Reno with that piece of luggage you just saw the commercial in. And let me tell you, if not having to worry about packing a suitcase and having a surprise check and everything else with my garment bag, I purchased that specifically for this trip, and I love it. The convenience of putting everything into a little duffel bag and then wrapping the garment bag around it. Not one stitch of my clothes in the garment bag was wrinkled. I loved it. So, folks, check it out. Ultima.com. John, can you put the spelling up there somewhere for it so people spell it right? But if you get a shot, get it, try it. And each piece can be used separately. There's even a third piece which is the bag that carries it all in there. Could be good for shoes or a sling bag. Get it, do it. It's great. I love it. So thank you to Ultima Luggage. Greatly appreciate it. We look forward. I hope more and more people buy. Anyway, with that, George, is it time?
It is time.
Time for America Speaks. America Speaks.
All right, folks, this is your segment, America Speaks. This is where I'll pick a topic that has a lot of comments and generated a lot of interest. And then I'll read the comments, and then you guys get to comment on the comments, and we'll see how America thinks and speaks on certain issues. Sometimes I'll pick some really heavy issues. Other times I'll just pick something to while the time away. I actually saw a story here. It was interesting. In Philadelphia, motorcycle gangsters murdered men, hid their bodies in a cemetery crypt. They would break into crypts, other people's burial place, and hide these bodies that they were killing these drug dealers and motorcycle gangs in Philadelphia. So I went rummaging through here. It's about 254 comments about all this. And they charged a couple of these motorcycle gang members with killing these guys and stuffing them in these crypts. So we got one guy, woke is a cult. They charged him with abuse of a corpse. He gave the guy a decent burial. So they were actually abusing these corpses. And this guy goes, well, he gave him a decent burial at least. So I don't know how you feel about that kind of shit, John. How about the working man? Warlocks gang members, hey man, meet us at the cemetery in Philly. Me, nah, I'm good. I don't need anything from you. Thanks, buddy. Wow. So, Dill Gaff, please, a 9mm cost the taxpayers way less than 3 hots and a cot for 20 years. What do you think about that? I mean, these gang members were taking bodies, their victims, and burying them or breaking into crypts and putting their bodies in there instead of dumping them in a lake or a ditch.
It's probably cheaper labor that way.
Well, yeah, but you would think that, and I don't know. In today's world, you can find out all kinds of stuff like that now. I mean, with all these, but do they have cameras in cemeteries?
Not older ones, no, because the technology was never there.
Wow. Well, here's one. As Bill 014, the Philadelphia investigators digging for evidence in Mount Moriah Cemetery asked for more help. The lead investigator claimed they found human remains from over 1,000 potential victims, and that was just in the first row. The captain told his men to keep digging, saying, if we have to dig the whole place up down to 100 feet, we'll do it. So they're tearing this cemetery up, man, to find all these bodies. Oh, speaking of that, did you guys read that story in Florida? Investigators were, they had divers in a lake. They were looking for a particular crime victim or whatever, and they found 30 to 40 cars that had been dumped in this lake over time. And some go back as 20 years. They were finding these vehicles. They were only able to get like 4 or 5 a day out. They're still through the process. So a lot of these cars were probably involved, stolen vehicles, insurance fraud, maybe. Maybe they'll come up across a body or two of a missing person.
Were they in Lake Mead?
Creep you out.
Were they in Lake Mead?
No, well, just similar to here, too. I mean, you're out there water skiing, having fun, and you got dead bodies and barrels floating around.
Yeah.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering, these investigators in Florida, are they financial crocodiles?
As in, I don't know what the term financial crocodile.
Investigators.
Oh God. And I went through this.
And that's getting even for Aaron's joke.
Oh my God. We were hearing crazy, stupid jokes yesterday at Penn and Teller. And they were doing stupid stuff like that. Yeah.
Hey, George, real quickly, I have ESPN on.
Their internet connection.
Shut up. I have ESPN on here in my room, and college football has made a decision that they are going to expand to 12 teams for the college football playoffs starting in 2024. 6 highest ranked conference teams and 6 highest ranking non-conference teams. 12 starting in 2024 for the college football playoffs.
Well,
I think it's too many.
Isn't the championship game here in Vegas in like 2025 or something like that? Like a year after the Super Bowl. Like the Super Bowl is coming in February. I think a year later.
Well, it surprises me. That surprised me because usually they use one of the big granddaddies, Pasadena, Orange Bowl, or whatever. But hey, bring it. Why not?
Well, you mentioned that. You see UNLV now. They're in this. What's the conference they're in? The West, not the
Mountain West. Mountain West.
There's like 12 teams now, and UNLV's never going to get anywhere.
Well, there's going to end up, you mark my words, within the next couple of years, there'll only be like 3 or 4 power conferences. If you look at all the movement that's going on now, the Big 10 has become the Big 14. Come next year, they got 2 more teams coming.
That's
so, I mean, it's
stupid.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Well, how do you think Colorado's going to do with Deion Sanders?
Well, I think they'll be improved. I don't think they're going to be in anybody's top 25 right now, but the energy that he can bring, the boosters and everything else, it's only a positive for them, in my opinion.
Have you ever been to a UNLV game at Allegiant Stadium?
Not at Allegiant, no. But I remember one time when I was officiating football back in the day, UNLV was playing BYU, and the head coach. What was his name at BYU? He was like the Joe Paterno of BYU. I could see him, but I just
I know who you're talking about too. He's being comedy. He's being funny. At least he didn't say Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
But my officiating crew was selected to actually work not on the field, but I was the chain gang. I was on the down marker.
Yeah.
I had opportunities, and I stood next to the coach, whose name is escaping me. So you're supposed to have decorum. So I'm holding the down marker and I look over. He's actually a pretty tall cat, this guy. And I just out of the side of my mouth said, Coach, I said, I admire what you've done for BYU. Congratulations and best of luck. Continue, just something like that.
Right.
But that's the only UNLV game I ever went to was when they played BYU and I was part of the chain gang.
Was that Sam Boyd?
Yeah, it was at Sam Boyd, as a matter of fact.
Well, you can go see a UNLV game at Allegiant for $30.
Why would I want to do that?
Just to have fun, go see the stadium, and just to get out and about with all.
I don't care. See, here's the thing: I have no interest in seeing the stadium. The fact that they even charge for tours at the stadium, shame on the Raiders.
Really?
Yeah.
What is supposed to tour for nothing?
Why did name other than SoFi? What other NFL teams have tours in their stadiums? The Giants don't, and they have 2 teams.
I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know. The Raiders, you get a couple beers for $60 and tour the stadium for 2 hours. I thought about doing
it. Well, I know that it includes the locker room, but I don't know.
Places that you don't normally get to see.
Look, I went into the New York Yankee Museum for free, not counting the price of the tickets to get to the stadium, but to walk into the New York Yankee Museum, 27 world titles. They cost nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
It's greed. I guess, is the word that you're looking for.
Yeah.
I guess so. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And I will tell you that what else we got? America Speaks here. There's kind of a boring week here. I can't really find anything worth talking about. So I guess we could just keep going on. And
Lavelle Edwards was the coach of BYU from 1972 to 2000. He had a record of 257 and 101 with a winning percentage of 717. That is the gentleman that I found myself standing next to. He got done. He was done in 2000. The current coach, let's see, it doesn't even have that list. But yeah, he retired in 2000.
Did you read that? I sent you that article too about Eric Bieniemy. You know who he is, right?
Yes, and I saw the ESPN did a story on that too. You know what?
He's been around a long time. He's a tough coach, and these Commanders.
Former player of Colorado, ironically.
Yes, and he won 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs. He's been their offensive coordinator for a while, and now he's with the Commanders. And after this, Dan Snyder's out now, and Magic Johnson's part of the Redskins now. Well, I actually saw that petition. I think they're going to change it back to the Redskins.
I hope so.
I think they should. They should. Speaking of the players, apparently they don't want to win. You know, when I played football, we discussed this with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago about when I played in military school, how tough they were on us, and you and I discussing how we drank out of a water hose. I mean, these guys are spoiled. You guys are getting, a few $1 million a year. If your coach tells you to run a lap, 10 laps, you run it. I mean, it doesn't matter how tough you think that it should. You're not the boss. The coach is. And I'm tired of these, coaches having to deal with the Players Association. Oh, it's you can't be in pads, no hit in the first 2 weeks. Stop, man. I mean, I don't get it.
I agree. Eric,
when I played,
go ahead.
You were the first week you weren't in pads. It was conditioning the first week. That was the worst part.
Yep.
You didn't even touch a football. You ran. You ran 40-yard sprints. You ran 100-yard sprints. You'd run laps around.
You ran the stadium steps.
Yeah, you ran the steps. The stadium steps. Oh my God, I remember those. Well, I look back now fondly, but at the time I hated it. But I knew what it was doing for me, so I look back and now. But you didn't you didn't tell the coach, no, I'm not doing it. You didn't say that stuff.
No, Eric Bieniemy is an old soul coach with that style. He would have been, if Bill Parcells had him at where they are now, Parcells would love the guy because he's that old school approach. You know what? You're 100% correct. I'll tell you what, Ron Rivera did him no favors. With his news conference, reading off of notes the day after he made the comments. So Rivera did him no justice.
Well, what did he say? I think Rivera said something, well, if you have an issue, go talk to him, the coach. Well, you're the head coach.
But
you should be going, you do what he says. You're getting paid to play football. If you have to be treated like an 18-year-old kid, you're going to be. Just do what you're told.
And he came back the next day at his news conference, and he tried to step back on the comments that you just alluded to, where he said, go talk to your coach if you got a problem. And the sad part is it wasn't even genuine at that second news conference because he's reading off of notes. He has a piece of paper there. He tried to hide it. But, yeah, shame on Rivera, shame on Washington for not supporting him. And you know what? If you can't stand the heat, get the hell out of the kitchen.
I agree totally. Well, they're going to do a lot of shakeups over there. Magic Johnson, even though he's a minority owner, he's not. He's going to be part of the face there, and I'm sure he knows. He knows how tough it was to play basketball and do what you're supposed to do. And you got to get this mindset out of these young players out of the way. You can't just give them $5 million and you can do what you want. You still have a boss.
Right. And Pat Riley, I'm sure, was not an easy coach to play for in L.A.
I have no doubt that he wasn't. My God, I'm telling you. Yeah, these athletes today, there's athletes out there that are working at Home Depot that would give anything to have a shot to play for a couple $100,000.
Kurt Warner's a great example of that.
Totally. Bagging groceries, he'd be the first one out there to run 10 laps if the coach made him do it. But we'll see what happens. But our producer's telling me we got 60 seconds.
All right. So let me do this. Let me just do this real quickly. Programming note. Tomorrow, Kiwanis Connects, 10 a.m., not 9, 10 a.m. from Reno. So just wanted to mention that. That's tomorrow, John. I'll send you a wake-up call.
All right, thanks.
Now, there is no time difference. Reno's the same, right?
Right.
Correct. Okay. We're moving it back an hour because of Governor Val's schedule tomorrow morning.
And because of you being in Reno, the Mouth gets to guest host Aaron's Hour on Saturday.
I'm Johnny Carson. You're my Jay Leno.
That's right. I'm glad you didn't say Ed McMahon. I'd be all
no.
So, but yeah, I'll be with Aaron's Hour on Saturday at noon Pacific, 3:00 Eastern time.
And I will try to log in for Thoughts Count Anywhere on Saturday, at least for half the show, from 10 to 10:30, because I'm doing a seminar on social media at 11 here in Reno. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, you're all over the place.
Let me tell you, I wish I knew where I was going because then I'd know where I was from. You know what I'm saying?
Right. With all the traveling these guys do, they're giving me the opportunity to hang out with you guys in the studio on not just the round table, but Aaron's Hour.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Aaron, have a good time up there in Reno. Any last thoughts from you?
As always, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Kiwanis Connects.
That's right, guys. Keep your head above water. Keep waking up in the morning. Keep doing what you do. We love you, and we'll see you later. I'll be here Saturday for Aaron's Hour.